Peace. You have now tapped into the Big House Breakdown. The Big House Breakdown college football show is brought to you courtesy of Soundtrack Your Brand. Soundtrack Your Brand and its contractual relationship with ASCAP and BMI allows us to play all music in their vast catalog, all rights reserved. The Big House Breakdown is also brought to you courtesy of 17 USC 106, fair use, videos used for educational purposes only. Get ready for that intro. Peace to all my peoples in the ethos. This is the Big House Breakdown, and I am your host, the Vic7, back again with another one to get to your eardrum. Cause Michigan won. Hail blue. Welcome back to the throne of Big Ten football. 24-0 Michigan Wolverines, most wins ever. So this is a reaction show to what we did last week, which was the Big House Breakdown of the game, right? Everybody remember that? Jump on, you can get it. Breakdown of the game. So the game that was, you know what I mean? And unless you was hiding under a rock, you know that we maize and blue off top. And whether you was cleaning a potato with a mop on D block, you have had heard that Michigan beat the Ohio State Buckeyes. Not only did they beat them, but they pounded them. It was epic. If you missed it, go on YouTube, watch the replay. It's healthy for the soul and the spirit. You know what I mean? Your man Vic is the one that, you know, is going to co-sign that one. Go watch it. Watch it in its entirety, and you'll be a healthy person for the outcome of it. Well, Michigan beats Ohio State, and I told you guys that defense and running game travels. I told you guys that so much. My man Blake Keezy, my man Blake Corn tried to give it a go, took a helmet to the knee during the Illinois game. He was 50-50. You know, he knew this appearance was way too big. Mike Morris tried to give it a go. They both went about one or two series and then had to sit it on down. But what happened, man? How did this all come to be? Why did it all come to be? Because of this right here. College football schedule and the standings, which as of last week had Georgia at 1, had Ohio State at number 2, Michigan was being disrespected at number 3, and TCU was at 4. But now this week, we got Georgia, Michigan at 2, TCU at 3, USC at 4, and there is some debate as Ohio State falls out of the top bracket after they took the L to the mighty Wolverines. There's some chatter, there's some chop up about whether or not Georgia should be replaced at 1 by these mighty Wolverines. But that remains to be seen. So we also showed a graph of the field of 12. And what would the field of 12 look like? Let me pull down my throne of the Big Ten. And it would have, if we had the 12-team playoff right now, Georgia will be 1, Michigan will be 2 in the southern bracket. In the northern bracket would be Georgia. In the southern bracket would be Michigan. In the eastern, I'm assuming would be, in the western, I'm assuming would be, eastern. Eastern, I'm assuming would be TCU. And in the western, leading the western bracket would be USC. Penn State will be taking on Clemson. Ohio State will be taking on Tulane. Bama will be taking on Utah. Tennessee will be taking on Kansas. Not so fast, my friends. Kansas might give Tennessee a job. The way Bama's playing this year, Utah might do something with them boys. Tulane has had an upstart way for their season, but they would have to win the war of the trenches to beat Ohio State. And then Penn State Clemson would be an excellent, excellent game. So that's where we were. That's where we are. And the field looked very different last week as that game approached and we played the Big Ten East title in the game. Harbaugh taking on Ryan Day, Michigan football versus Ohio State. Yeah, man. So what exactly popped off? Well, 17 million people watched the game. And according to Fox, Ohio State, Michigan, or Michigan, Ohio State, let's say it right. Let's say it right. Say what you want, spell my name right. Michigan, Ohio State was the most watched regular season college football game ever with 17 million views. Most watched regular season college football game on any internet outlet since 2011, peaked at 19, almost 20 million people, and it was up 3% over 2021's matchup, which was also epic. So we on it right now. We are talking about Ohio State, Michigan, what it all meant. We talked the playoff standings. We talked about the field of 12, if it was popping right now. And we talked about the magnitude of the game. The game, Michigan versus Ohio State. Hail to the victors. You have reached the throne of the Big Ten. Most wins ever in college football. We're going to keep that up for a minute. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to go right to this box score, though, because this box score is out of control. We need to read it. We need to get to it. We need to get to it, do it. Okay, so Michigan destroyed Ohio State. 22 points. 22 points. So that's like when you running and you playing your PS5 or your Xbox and you playing the Madden joint and it's a 21-0 rule. We went to 21-0 rule on Ohio State. They should have quit. But let's read it about and maybe second half they did quit. Maybe that was the main issue. JJ McCarthy went 12 for 24 for 263 yards, 3 touchdowns, 30 yards rushing, and a rushing touchdown. So my man went for 4 joints. JJ did it. And we're not talking about JJ from Good Times. We're talking about JJ Mack out of the Michigan University. The Donovan Edwards, came on second half with one hand, because the other hand had a broken bone and a cast on it. But he still played 22 rushes for 216 yards and 2 touchdowns. And CJ Cornelius Johnson did it, 4 receptions, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. And for Ohio State, CJ Stroud, he got Allen Iverson numbers. You remember AI used to just chuck the ball up like 100 times a game and walk away with 50 points. Well, my man threw up 48 birdies for 349 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Those are like Brett Favre numbers. But then Brett Favre had like 3 picks in the middle of it. So your man here they're being generous because he fumbled that ball when Okie hit him for Michigan. So it should say fumble as well, but it'll just go down as a sack. Emeka Egbuka was the real baller of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Him and Trainum ran for over 100 yards, and Emeka Egbuka had 9 receptions for 125 yards and a touchdown. And then Marvin Harrison Jr. had 7 receptions for 120 yards and a touchdown. You could hold blue jokers for just a touchdown. And the fact that the two of them had over 250 yards receiving. If somebody said that to you, that Emeka Ibuka and Marvin Harrison had 250 yards receiving, you would have thought Ohio State won, but not so fast, my friend. Because we 21 point a day behind. 22-point win, Michigan Wolverines. That's how it went down during the game. You know what I mean? And if you just jumped on, you have reached the Big House Breakdown. This is Michigan, home of Michigan Amazing Blue. Hail to the victors. Valiant, Gold Blue. It's the throne of the Big Ten. Michigan is 24-0. Most wins ever in college football. Yeah, man. So you heard it here. You heard it here. Look it up if you don't believe me. That's how Michigan get down. And we are talking about the outcome of the game. So if you got something to say and you want to jump on and make your opinion strong, there is the call letter, StreamYard.com, X3CSW TCDPG. You just throw it up into your address bar. I will bring you up backstage. We take that melanin magic first. Then we take the dumb, deaf, and blind. We take them blind, crippled, crazy. We even take them Ohio State trolls. We take everybody in, man. Please, an Ohio State troll pop up. Got something for you. Got that fire for you. But we back at it because we don't want to lose professionalism. So we back at it. You know what I mean? It's all about this right here. It's that college football chip. You know what I mean? And we're talking about the outcome of the game, which was Michigan destroyed Ohio State 45-23. Yeah, man. So that maize and blue thing was popping in the shoe. And, you know, no one said that Michigan could do it. No one said that Michigan could get to it. As a matter of fact, you heard a lot of yin yang and a lot of nonsense about how Michigan was going to get whooped by all the football analysts and all the pundits. You know what I'm saying? It came from everywhere. SI, Street and Smith, USA Today Sports, Phil Steele's Football Magazine, and Athlon Sports. All supposed to be reputable outlets for predicting what was going to happen. And then if you just did a simple Google right before the game, 80%, if not more, of sportscasters predicted Michigan was going to get whooped mighty, mighty bad. Right, Miss Silly? Mighty, mighty bad. 80% of them have Michigan taking the L. But, hey, I want to shout out Mays, Michigan. That's another YouTube creator. And he put together a little media kit to show what actually happened after Michigan won and how all these pundits and football brothers ride that bandwagon. They had to get on board because Michigan was the hottest thing smoking. So let's show y'all a little bit about what actually popped off in the media and how the media got to riding. Check it out, Real HD Show. Fair use, fair use.
Was that incredible?
Coach Harbaugh said the level of preparation and the level of detail, it was Super Bowl-like. We understand this is like having a Super Bowl every year. When you're at Michigan, you get to play in the Super Bowl every single year. And it was treated as such by our coaches, especially the coordinators. I can't say enough good things. The amount of preparation and detail that went into this game, and ultimately the performance by our team, they were directly responsible. Michigan had 530 yards of offense in this game without their Heisman candidate running back.
Greeny, this is one of
Yeah, man. So you saw it. 530 yards without our Heisman candidate, our best player. Imagine if we had him. probably would have been more like 700 yards of offense. Listen to what Paul Fine Sucker. Listen to what Paul Fine Sucker got to say about what popped off during the Ohio State Michigan game. Go ahead, get your KY jelly ready, Paul, because I know you about to ride. Here we go.
One of the greatest, if not the greatest, transformation in college football history. He's in the playoff 2 straight years, and he absolutely owns his rival 2 straight years. And suddenly, Jim Harbaugh is no longer on the hot seat, and some people are pointing the finger at Ryan Day at Ohio State. That's how great this has been.
Michigan 3 and out. OH and then IO. Okay, it's going to be going on a long time. And then all of a sudden, got to the second half, and there was no OH. It was O bleep IO.
Without Blake Corum, I don't think the Wolverines can run the ball consistently. They haven't in the first half.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Holy
So we back. That was with some of the media suckers that are in there now. They gotta ride it. They gotta be on board. They gotta be on schedule. They gotta ride it. You know what I'm saying? They gotta do that. They gotta go get them. They gotta go get them stage boy lessons from Genuine so they can ride that pony. Get on it. Ride it appropriately. Because the Michigan Wolverines beat the Ohio State Buckeyes 45-23. We was acting up all over the yard, doing things that they were supposed to. And remember, 80% of you clowns, 80% of you jokers said Michigan was going to get whooped mighty bad, right? But it did not happen. Off we go to the Big Ten title game versus Purdue. You know what I mean? But how did it happen? What was the impact players? Who were they? What did they do? And how did this win come about? So here they are. Here they are, front and center. Had impact players before. I was right. Running games and defenses travel. The game was a culmination of a second half super team and a second half soft ass team. Just got to keep it a whole funky with you. Just got to keep it a whole lot of funky with you. So I'm going to remove this tagline. Anybody within the sound of my mouth. We broadcasting the 5 Facebook channels. We broadcasting to YouTube, the Real HD page. We broadcasting to the Real HD network on twitch.tv. We broadcasting to Twitch, the AJ James page. We Twitter, the AJ James page. We're broadcasting to Trovo Nation, Mob Crush, D Live. We are all over the place. We are the football big house breakdown, doing college football the way it's supposed to be done. So all you guys see it, man. And you know, Michigan won the game. Blake Corum, who's the Heisman front runner, in my opinion, because all of these quarterbacks that are up for the Heisman right now kind of took L's throughout the season. So he's kind of the only legitimate one. He's probably not going to be in the conversation much more because he had that injury. And of course, he's been out, which would have been effectively 2 games now. But you had the Michigan team that won, second half super team after you go in halftime and make adjustments versus second half soft ass Ohio State team. But let's talk about these players and how they impacted the game. So number 9 was Super 9 in the game. How was he Super 9? Because he threw for over 2, because he finally connected with his deep threats. And y'all been asking for it. See, y'all got it. Y'all been asking for my man to ignite and flame throw, and so he did. Connect CJ Cornelius Johnson. That's why he's up there. Number 6, you see him running like a banshee. You know what I mean? Blazing it up the field. So that was the first half. And then he also threw to Colston Loveland, which is a tight end, number 18. Lots of injuries to Michigan's tight ends, but it's next man up, according to the Michigan Wolverines. So JJ McCarthy, JJ Mack as they call him, threw all over the yard, flame throwing, and then got on his wheels, and the wheels took over, and my man looked like a straight halfback and ran for 30 yards, but helped the Michigan Wolverines to get 9, almost 10 first downs in between the second, third, and fourth quarters to put the game away. And that's the 5-star cat that Michigan Wolverines recruited. He was suited and booted and did what he's supposed to do to lead his team to greener pastures and a win over the Ohio State. And I can't say enough about Super 7, the Donovan Edwards. Playing on one hand, but said, my team needs me to be super, so I'm going to run for 22 carries and get 200 and almost 20 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns to seal the deal. So the touchdown makers of the game on Michigan's side went as follows: 4 for JJ Mack, 2 for Donovan Edwards, and 1 for Colston Loveland, the tight end number 18, and 2 for CJ Cornelius Johnson. And then offensively, like I read before with the box score, let's go back to it. You know what I mean? Ohio State played. They were competitive in the first half. I'm not going to besmirch them nothing. They did their thing. CJ Stroud was 48 attempts for 349 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a fumble. Quick whistle. That's why they didn't give him the fumble. Emeka Egbuka was the hardest thing on the field. You know what I mean? Because them Buckeyes were soft after contact. If you go back and you look at the box and you look at the game in its entirety, you will see that Emeka Egbuka was that joker, that number 2 right there. That's why you get to see the back of him. You know what I mean? Everybody else was okay. They came to play, but once the second half took over and we went back and we did some halftime adjustments, we came out hard. You know what I mean? We went the hard way. Halftime adjustments had us going the hard way. And as expected, Tommy Eichenberg, number 35, Jack Sawyer, number 33, and JTT, number 44, were the only ones that came to play in the Ohio State defense for the entirety of the game. That offensive line was getting bullied. That defensive 1, 2, and 3 technique was soft. Yo, I'm telling you, that's the way it went. Go check it out for yourself if you don't think so. And then halftime adjustments had us scheming these fast and active defensive ends right out of the game. So you're talking JTT that's probably up for one of the better defensive awards of the year as a defensive end, schemed out of the game. Jack Sawyer at the jack position in the Ohio State defense as one of the more active players that's going to roam around and be that like nickel back, that nickel safety, schemed out of the game. And Kevin Eichenberg, number 35, playing with 2 broken thumbs, did all he could until my man Super 7 got ignited, ran for 216 yards, did most of his damage in the second half. Gotta say, Michigan is the best second half team in the nation. And just like I said last week during my very first show, Ohio State lets people hang in there. And they a haymaker at us, punched us in the mouth one good time with Marvin Harrison Jr., back in the mouth with CJ Cornelius Johnson, excuse me. And CJ got him on 2 play action to the house, took him to church, right? And then by halftime, come out, these cats, they don't want no more smoke. They ain't want no more smoke. So if you want to jump in, man, the water's fine. You guys can get in here. Here's the StreamYard link. You guys can jump in here. I put it on my story page on Facebook, but here it is again. If you guys want to jump in here, if you got something to say about the game and how it transpired, if you just a spoiled ass Ohio State fan and you got some smoke, there is the call letters. Jump on here and say EOPs. Now, on defense, let's go to defense for Michigan. Because we did offense for Michigan, we did offense for Ohio State, and then we got to do defense for Michigan because that was the game inside the game. And the most active players, 2 players, I'm going to say, is, Michael Barrett, number 23, our inside backer, and number 0 in the middle, Mike Sanderstill, which was the converted nickel backer, converted from wide receiver, but this kid is a road warrior, breaking up at least 4 passes during the game. He even got scored on, but didn't let it get him down. He said, all right, you might get me on 1, but I got 4 more for y'all. You know what I mean? And in the second half, the Wolverines got 3 turnovers. That's right. I put Abioki up there, number 18, defensive end, that got that sack in the middle of the 4th quarter to kind of rattle CJ Stroud, get him feeling oh so sensitive, oh so moist. And he didn't want, and their offense was just super erratic, super out of structure, super out of rhythm. It was thanks to these brilliant defensive players. And let me continue. So you got Michael Barrett, number 23. You got Mike Sanderstill, Agent 0. You got Abioki, number 18 from Alabama and Tennessee State. Then you have Makari Page, who sealed the game with an interception late in the 4th quarter. You had Mozzie Smith, beast from the East. Mozzie Smith was getting it done. He was eating up gaps and rushing the passer. More than enough time. Michigan had about 11 or 12 quarterback pressures within the game. And then the other interception came from Upshaw, Mr. Number 91, Mr. Good Hands in there. And then for honorable measure, the young one, McGregor, number 17, the defensive end. We had mad depth on our D-line, man. We just kept rotating them in more. McGregor, Hillel was the one that was responsible for breaking up Stover, and that's why Stover didn't get put on here because they targeted Stover 6 or 7 times throughout the game, and he was broken up and smacked around about 5 of them 7 times and was rendered ineffective. So if you got that smoke, man, jump on here. Let me know what you think. We want you in here like swimwear. Let's go. We talking the game. Michigan Wolverines beat up on them Ohio State Buckeyes. You got that smoke. Time to hear it. Let's get it going right now, right here. We need to see it. You know what I mean? So now that you guys, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I left out the big bubbas. So here we go. The big bubbas, the offensive line. Michigan's offensive line. Zach Zinter, Trevor Keegan, Trente Jones, Olu Oluwatimi up for the offensive line of the year. They mauled them boys from Ohio. They mauled the 1 technique, 2 technique, and 3 techniques. That's how Super 7 was able to get off for 216 yards and 2 touchdowns to seal the game. Is because them big bubbas up front. That's right. Them big bubbas up front from the maize and blue came through like them road warriors and put the stranglehold on the second half softies from Ohio State. We giving it to you great right now. You know what I mean? Did the Ohio State line ball out? Yes, they did. I just think I remember it was Yahoo Sports, and they had a write-up about the offense and defensive lines for Ohio State, right? And they said the write-up was that they were soft and out of condition. So what happens when you soft and out of condition? That means when it's time to execute your offense late in the game, you can't because you winded. And it shows. And it shows. Don't hide now, Cletus. Where's all that smoke from them people from Ohio talking all that yin yang? Where's all that smoke from all them people that decided that Ohio State was going to be the predicted winner? 80% of the predictions went to Ohio State, and they got 21-0. They got 3 scored. Madden, you are no longer allowed to play video games. You are done, Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? But let's get to how done the breakdown. What were the super moments in the aftermath of the game? So we're gonna put it up right now. So now, you saw the impact players. Now let's get to the aftermath. Let's see what exactly happened. So in the Ohio State loss, this is what happened. So alert might get your feelings hurt. Ohio State was burned 5 times, both on the air and on the ground. Gambling with that soft ass cover zero that they put out there as some sort of hoorah game plan to stop the Michigan attack. These jokers had 3 turnovers in the second half of the game. Shaky third down execution. Either they were off rhythm, out of time, or dropping balls. 110 yards and penalties. So when I tell you about the big bubbas here, the big bubbas from Ohio State, whether it was on the offensive line or the defensive line, they had problems. The unsportsmanlike conduct, problems. Jumping off sides on punts and punt returns, problems. It's an undisciplined group of softies because they are out of condition, and an undisciplined group of bums. They had 6 drops throughout the game by wide receivers. Nobody's talking about that. Look at any analyst. I watched the game again today for the 3rd time. 6 drops. Marvin Harrison Jr., dropsies. Emeka Ibuka, dropsies. Fleming, dropsies. All over the yard. Dropsies. Garrett, dropsies. They might as well put Jackson Smith and Jigba with his hurt self on the field. And then, of course, when we had them all suckered in on the run and they went cover zero, we had the fortitude to go play action and burn them 3 times in the air. Twice to CJ for 160 yards. And once to Coastin Loveland, a tight end of 18. And these jokers were soft on offense after first contact. These jokers went down, man. These jokers went down. And Steve Dace, that does the Michigan podcast, had an interesting thing to say about these dudes. He said, it's almost like Michigan play like Road Warriors, and Ohio State came out playing like this was a 7-on-7, Elite 8, or, one of them camps that you play in the summertime to get yourself noticed to be recruited. Poor conditioning, poor run fits late in the 4th quarter. Had your man Super 7 go crazy on broken hand and run for 216 yards. Once he got in his rhythm, my man took off. It wasn't even funny. and Ohio State had to beat Michigan and beat themselves. Facts, facts, and more facts. Got something contrary to say? Hit me in the chat or hit me in the timestamp and let me know what kind of smoke you got for the way that I analyze the bums from Ohio and what they had to offer. 6 drops for all the riding that all of these pundits all over the nation was doing of Ohio State. And I told you dudes, when I told you people, when you compare common opponents, they was soft and they let people stay in the game. Maryland stayed in the game with them. Iowa stayed in the game with them. Penn State stayed in the game with them. Indiana stayed in the game with them. Teams that Michigan dominated. And then in turn, Michigan turns out to dominate State and 21-0 their behinds on the way to having the worst performance in a Michigan versus Ohio State game in a very long time. Michigan is 2-0 versus them bums. 1 in Michigan and 1 in the shoe at Ohio State. But now let's just talk about the Michigan win. 5 explosive touchdowns. 5, and we talked about it. J.J. McCarthy was responsible for 4. This is his coming out party. You know what I mean? He had on a shiny suit like Puffy and Mace, and he was dancing all over the field on these cats. Play action, play action, play action. And then Michigan forced 3 turnovers. So you know if Michigan is winning the battle of turnovers, game done. Battle done. Michigan also won the LOS, the line of scrimmage battle. So if the big bubbas is banging them around, both offensively and defensively, you know them boy Chris Jenkins and Mozzie Smith and Mason Graham came to play. There was one stunt in the top of the 3rd quarter where I believe it was Chris Jenkins and Mozzie Smith and the Ohio State center got pancaked by Mozzie Smith on a stunt. Mozzie Smith ran right up his chest. And when you see your center take an L like that, man, you go back to your team, and your team head is hung low. You know what I'm saying? You seeing your offensive lineman getting bullied. Man, the sack late on CJ Stroud by number 18, Iabioki with the swim technique, right? Looking like Dwight Freeney in the Super Bowl, right? Was on big number 77, 320 pounds, 6'7" dude. Talk to me, man. You bullying him up front, you won the line of scrimmage battle. But not only the scrimmage battle, defensive linebackers had 12 pressures. And guess what? We only had 2 sacks. And I want to say half, if not 8 of those 12 pressures came from your interior linemen. That's how you know you're getting it done. That's how you know you won. And in the defensive secondary, including linebackers, were very timely, had that locked down on with 8 breakups. Got smoke for me on that analysis? Jump in. Let me know how you swim. Let's get deep on it on the game. You know what I'm saying? Then Michigan beat them with unconventional plays. How does Michigan beat them with unconventional plays? We had Khalil Mullins came in the game, number 20. Now, he's a linebacker, mind you. Outside linebacker. I think he backs up either Barrett or he backs up Mike Sanders still. One of the two. But he came in as a running back, got handed off the ball, did a tight end pop pass for a first down to the injured but unselfish Schooney. Schoonmaker caught that unconventional play. And in the unconventional play, Michigan's quarterback on the quarterback power on the goal line of all things. Yo, you know you getting bullied when your quarterback and your backup running back can do an off tackle power on the goal line and score in the biggest game of your division of the year. The Super Bowl of the Big Ten is what they call it, right? So it was a diverse team effort, man. We had a lot of people do a lot of good things. And if you were looking at the stats for the defensive tackles, the 1, 2, and 3 techniques, the box score won't tell you the story. They was bench pressing them cats. So even if Mike Morris, big number 90, couldn't play, they came with a workman, road warrior type attitude and got it done. And it was 4 pancake moments for the offensive line and the defensive line throughout the game. Now, you're not going to really see too many pancake moments for defensive linemen, but you saw it. I challenge anybody. Go back, watch the game, put your joint on slow motion, put your joint on pause, and then press play. Put your joint on pause and then press fast forward, and you'll get the slow motion piece, and you will see all the pancakes that took place as the game within the game. So now how you see how Ohio State took that L and Michigan got that win. There a lot more people to show up tonight, but that's okay. I understand y'all running scared. I understand y'all bitch worthy. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear nothing next year when they come out and Michigan come out and Michigan is ranked number 7 at the beginning of the year, even though they are the defending Big Ten champs, and then they creep up to number 2 during the year, and then 80% of prognosticators doubt my peoples, and all my peoples come through and put the smack down and do a 21-0 on their ass. So if you watch it, man, and you like my get down, and you like how I'm delivering this to you, man, and you think this is a different type of college football breakdown for you, we ain't corny. We doing it the way we're supposed to do it. Let's hear the intro then. That's right. We are back. We are back with the home and the throne of Big Ten football. The Big House Breakdown. That's the name of the show. We are everything maize and blue. You see, I got my maize and blue on tonight. You know what I mean? I can't wait to get my Michigan champ fitted. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be fitted. I'm gonna have my Big Ten Michigan football drip on, and I'm gonna have my little Scully fitted on in a minute. And y'all ain't gonna be able to tell me nothing. Shout out to Ye. Yeah, you can't tell me nothing. Why? Because Michigan is number 2 in the nation with the Big Ten East title. Some people rumor that they should be number 1. Played in the game. The Super Bowl of the Big Ten is what they call it. 10 million people viewed it. At its height, it had 20 million people watching the show. So if you was hiding under a rock, just know that we maize and blue off top. You might have been cleaning potatoes with a mop on D block. You know what that means. I ain't gonna explain it. Think about it when you get home. We back at you with why Michigan clean house on them bums from Ohio State, man. And let me say this, man. Running game and defense traveled. I told y'all that last week. That was the game within the game. Running back, a good run game and defense. And it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. That's right, the rabbit. You know what I mean? Them road warriors, them rabbit. I don't mean the animal, the rabbit. I'm talking about them rabid dogs, the Michigan Wolverines that use that clock. It was a game plan, man. We used that clock in the second half to put the stranglehold on like a anaconda. Y'all sports pundits, stop biting my examples and my analogies. But I said last week, like an anaconda, like a boa constrictor, we strangle the life out of these particular defenses that we play against until they say, "Mother, may I? Daddy, may I?" Who's your daddy? Remember that? If you go back far enough with the Yankees and the Red Sox, who's your daddy? You know what I mean? The rivalry has shifted back to Ann Arbor, back to the big house with a Michigan win two times in a row. Get at me. Let me know how you feel this whole piece. We excited over here. We excited to see the college football playoff come around. You know what I mean? Now Michigan is on a cutting edge. And let me say this, man. A lot of people want to see that lollipop football. They want that. Spread them out 50 yards of football horizontally. You know what I mean? And then they want to see you rainbow that thing 60 yards all over the field. Right? And not play and not be at the heart of what football is all about, which is blocking and tackling and perseverance and toughness on the line of scrimmage. You know what I'm saying? And at the beginning of the game, Michigan tried to, I'm not Michigan, Ohio State tried to spread Michigan out. They really did. And they tried to throw those quick screens all over the yard to Emeka Ibuka and to Fleming and to all of the Ohio State receivers. And to Michigan's credit, they were ready, poised, and they were good tacklers. They didn't let it move past a couple yards here, a couple yards there. We give it up. Matter of fact, I'm not shy to say that Michigan gave up 250 yards passing. 20 to the 20. From 120 to the opponent's other 20. We gave that all up. But Michigan had 5, and I mean 5 red zone defenses where we had them out of rhythm, dropping balls, scared to put their face in the mud, scared to get dirty. You know what I'm saying? They ain't run the ball in the end zone all day. That's what that Michigan do. Come through. Big house breakdown. So while we got a little bit more time left, man, we're going to do something that most people who break down this game. Let me put the breakdown on real quick. So here's the breakdown. And here's some long-lasting questions that have to be answered. For people that be, right? College football, right? As things go forward. So as Ohio State takes this ass whooping, here's what does this mean for both teams? Well, for Michigan, it means that Michigan is probably the most complete team in college football, right? They make great adjustments second half, and they come out in teams. They held teams to almost 9 points second half in the last 6 games. I'm gonna say that again. After they make adjustments and they come out halftime, they hold teams to 9 points in the last 6 games. So that means half the season, we almost had blowouts of every team that we faced second half. Crazy. Fan base reactions nationwide. Oh, Ohio State is they going through an exorcism right now, man. They feeling it. They, they got their panties in a bunch. They got tight sphincter muscles, as Coach Gardy used to say. Tight sphincter muscles, man. That asshole real tight right now. And they want Urban Meyer back. They want the ghost of Christmas past. They want him back. Because they think he's the only one that could do anything with Michigan. Right? Now, here's the thing I wanted to bring up. Soft versus battle-tested in college football. Michigan is what you call battle-tested. Now, everybody has something to say about how soft the leaders of the Big Ten schedules were. But as we approach and we play more and more teams, we are finding out that these teams are not battle-tested. And they soft up the middle. Cream filling Oreo cookie asses. You know what I'm saying? We getting it done hardcore, going through the hard way. You know what I mean? Like we got Jim Kelly, Jim Brown, and Richard Roundtree rocking with us. You know what I mean? Can Michigan win the Natty? I think absolutely. Can Michigan win the national championship? I think all things are on the table. I think that the college football board or playoff committee is going to schedule the Ferraris to get inside of the college football playoff because they the Road Warriors, these Tasmanian Wolverines, to just run roughshod over TCU and then have a ground and pound matchup with Georgia. They want some sports cars in there. So you might see USC creep up in there because USC could throw that rock. And you might even see Ohio State get back up in there because, Ohio State, if USC is a Ferrari, then Ohio State is that Tesla or that Maybach. You know what I mean? So can Michigan win the Natty? If they do what they did against Ohio State, absolutely. Coaching changes for Old State. I just said it. They called him for this dude's job. This dude is walking around with his head down, face in a frown. Didn't give his team anything. Couldn't put a battery in a back for the second half stretch. And then you saw the outcome. 45-23. So we back to it for the break. Timestamp this, man, and let me know what you think about any of these long-lasting outreaching questions. Can Michigan become a 5-star university like the Alabamas and the Georgias and the Ohio States and the USCs and the Texases, yada, 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 sis boom, bada, whoop-de-whoop? I believe now they can, because guess what's happening? There was about 4 or 5 flips all over the country of 4-star athletes that were recruited by these big programs. That because Michigan put that ass spanking on Ohio State, they now committing verbally to them Road Warrior Michigan Wolverines, them Boas Michigan Wolverines. And is the sports media riding a little too much? Absolutely, man. The word got put out. NFL and college football, they want them lollipops thrown. They want them rainbows running all over the field. They want it spread out so they could be sexy with the way that ball goes all over the yard. So the ladies can jump up and down and spend lots of money to see lots of air-related touchdowns. But then you get them Road Warriors in there. And them Warriors got something to say. You know what I mean? When you thought, all right, just because Blake Keezy was on the shelf for a minute, that the Road Warriors was down. But you didn't know that them Road Warriors had a second and a third gear. Super number 7, Donovan Edwards. Nasty number 9, J.J. Mack. Now, what I'm going to say about J.J. Mack is this, man, and I think this is something that most people miss, and here's my breakdown. Most people see, when you see the Michigan offense, and I don't even know if I should be saying this, I might be giving some ammunition. If you see the Michigan offense and you see JJ Mack rolling out or scrambling around in a high percentage of Michigan passing plays, because he's really good at throwing on the run. He got that flamethrower, right? That rollout and that waggle or that, run out of that naked boot that he does, they always do it a run set, right? From a run formation. So that when they actually run the quarterback on a planned run, it looks the same. It looks like he's running to throw the ball. And then what does he get? He gets running lanes. The defensive ends loop around trying to get him, and he comes right up in those running lanes. And man, that hockey background just has him being real tough down the field. And yeah, he took some shots this year. I think it made him tougher. I think it made him smarter. But that's my take. All that rolling out, if you're giving it to him in the same formation that you running your quarterback powers and your quarterback counters and your quarterback pin and pulls or your quarterback zone runs, then it all looks the same. So defenses really can't deal with what they're looking at, and they don't really see a difference scheme-wise, because Michigan does the very same thing on those quarterback rollouts. Just things that make you go, And I think that's going to really bode well once they start playing teams like Georgia and the playoff branch of competitors. I think that's going to bode well because it's going to give them to think about. They have to defend 11 people on the field. Most teams like a USC or TCU, you don't have to defend 11 people on the field. With Michigan, guess what, Papa? You got to defend 11 people on your field. You got to defend them all. And that quarterback will torch you, because then he'll pull up as he's rolling out in a run formation rather, and hit that crosser coming over the middle. And then before you know it, the score looks like this. 21-0. Get up out of here. So that's the breakdown. And we are almost coming to an end of the Big House breakdown of the game. Michigan Wolverines have the Big East title for the second consecutive year in a row. 24-0. The throne of the is rocking in Michigan. You know what I'm saying? Throne of the Big Ten, most wins ever. And that's how we rocking. You know what I mean? And I got something different I want to show you, man. And all it is a little cinematic drama, sights and sounds from the game. Some I put together, a fanfare, if you will, of how people are seeing this thing and reacting to this thing. And I'm trying to find it. Me and react. Celebration. Okay, so where's that at? It was called. Are we gonna play that? Okay. So my peoples are telling me put it together. But check this out. We'll do that next time we come on here, and we'll show the media explosion of, you know what? Bunk that. We're gonna jump into it right now, because it's too good. It's too good to be held back. So we just give me a second. I'm gonna pull this joker up. I'm gonna share my screen, and we're gonna get down to the meaning of the thing. All right, here we go. Yeah, we're gonna get that there, and then where we at? Yep. Okay, cool. Got it. Boom. Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen with y'all, and I'm gonna show you a little bit of how the Big House breakdown behind the scenes works. let me open this up and share this with you guys full screen so you can get the whole mean of the thing. All right, so here we go. This ain't 1080K. This is 480, but it's worth around 2. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna share my screen, then I'm gonna enlarge it, and then we're gonna get to it like we supposed to do it. All right, here we go. Boom. No, we're not in Chrome tab, we're in the window tab. Movie. Boom. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So they're not gonna let me show it. Okay. They want me to play around with all my settings. I'm not gonna play around with all my settings because then that's gonna have me looking a little janky out here. But believe me, next time we come through, we'll next time we do the Big House breakdown, we are going to show you guys the cinematic breakdown of the game, Michigan Wolverines versus the Ohio State Buckeyes, and the win that we are reporting on right now. Because it was epic. It was an epic battle. You guys saw. And just to review, you see the outcome here, 45-23. 17 to 20 million people watched the joint. We broke down who is in the college football playoff standings right now. We broke down how 80% of sportscasters said Michigan was going to get whooped bad, and the outcome was very, very different. We talked about the impact players, how Michigan was second half super, and Ohio State was second half soft. You know what I mean? And then we talked about the way that the wins and losses came about. And then we're also going to talk about the breakdown and what does this mean for the rest of college football, because the Michigan Wolverines are the antithesis of spread football, spreading out the ball over the yard. We are the antithesis of that, both by the way we play defense and the way that we strangle you with the clock. You know what I mean? Let's hear that smoke while I'm trying to load this up. I'm trying to get to it. I'm trying to help us get to it. You know what I mean? I'm going to title this A, B, and C. And we're going to go overtime for just a bit because I want to bring this to you because it's really, really so good. It's so good. It's really good juice. You know what I mean? Because the Michigan Wolverines was on the loose. And sometimes stats don't tell the whole tale, like the box score here. You know what I mean? The box score is really, really hot, but don't tell you the whole tale. You got to see it in cinematic quality. And I'm going to try to bring this to you and for you as it goes along. And let's see. Let's hope I got the bandwidth on site, on deck to get this done. And show you guys how this goes, because this cinematic effort is worth getting involved with. And while I'm waiting, please jump in. The water's fine. Come on in. Show us how you, if you care about Michigan, jump in and let us know. Those are the call letters. I'll show one more time. Jump in, or you can even jump in on the comments and let us know if you got that smoke about Michigan, Ohio State, or you just care about the state of college football. Do you like my breakdown analysis? You know what I'm saying? Is Michigan hard to beat because they add that extra layer to their running game with the way that Michigan rolls out J.J. Mack? They do it from a run fit, and that run fit looks like the way that they run their spread option and their quick option. You know what I'm saying? and their RPOs. And when you look, and when everything looks that similar, that's very hard to beat. You don't know if you're passing, running, or throwing. True RPO. True in every sense of the value. So let us know how we doing with this load up. We halfway done, people. So we might just show this thing and get it all done. Let's see what time we got. We are at 8:55, so we're not really past. We started a little early, and I forgot about that. So I hope this thing comes to fruition and we can load up this cinematic experience, because I believe that's it. And I believe that's the way we need to go out with this really, really banging Big House Breakdown premiere. And while we're waiting for that, let's go through this dynamite intro, man. Big House Breakdown. Let's get it. Yeah, we back. Big House Breakdown, and we doing the breakdown of the game. If you'd like to break it down to its very last compound. See how I sound? A little unrational. You know what I'm saying? Ohio State think that Michigan is magical. Bars. We hitting it the way we supposed to on the Big House Breakdown. And I think that cinematic experience is loaded up. Give it a second. Done, and it is good. That thing is cooked. I'm just waiting for the little symbol to pop up. Yeah. A cool DJ Red Alert used to say back in the day. Yeah. So we're going to try to load that thing up. We're going to try to find that thing and load that thing and do that thing, because we bout that thing on the Big House Breakdown. So let's load up ABC. ABC, right? And let's see if we could get it in the recents. ABC. Yep, there we go. So let me drop this here. So let's load it up in the video file so we can play it, because this thing is worth seeing. I'm trying to tell you. This thing is worth seeing. So let's see if we can get to this thing real quick. It's gonna make me look for it. Nope, it does not. Here we go. So this right here is the Michigan Wolverine. Hail to the victors. Go blue. Big Ten Throne video. Check it out, man. The aftermath of the game in cinematic quality. Some of the pictures may be blurry, some of them maybe not, but it's worth y'all sticking around. And we're gonna take the Big House Breakdown, and we're gonna go out. This is our outro. We had our intro. This is our outro with our cinematic experience of the game in the Big Ten East title game, the Super Bowl of the Big Ten. Check it out. Big House Breakdown. Let's go.